Welcome back to the Gaming Coffee Club, my friends. Your chilled out weekly news roundup here on YouTube and Spotify and everywhere else. We have a lot to talk about this week. First off, new PlayStation 6 handheld and console specs have leaked, which raised some really interesting questions about these machines. Then we also have some really good Grand Theft Auto 6 news for a change, and there is a new Horizon game which has been revealed by Sony, which is coming to PlayStation 5 and is just nothing like I expected it to be. And then we've also got some other really exciting news about a whole bunch of other games, but one big piece of news which is now official is we have got our new State of Play from Sony for 2026 happening very, very soon. It has been confirmed. So let's jump on into the news and get this show on the road. Grab yourself a coffee, a tea, a beer, a wine, whatever, in an official Gaming Coffee Club mug, hopefully. Check out the merch shelf down below on YouTube or head over to purepsx.com to grab yourself a mug for yourself and sit back and relax. And let's get into the first story. The PlayStation 6 rumour and leak bandwagon continues to roll on here with Gaming Bolt now reporting, and this news though it comes from Kepler L2, who we spoke about last week, I think, with a whole bunch of leaks in particular around the PlayStation Portal OLED model and the PlayStation 6 dedicated handheld. Well, he's back again, posting on the NeoGAF forums with even more information about the specs for these new machines. And it does raise some really interesting questions, which I'll get to in a second. So the PlayStation 6 console, the one you will sit in your living room underneath your TV, is going to have 30 gigabytes of GDDR7 RAM, right? And then the handheld will have 24 gigabytes of GDDR7 RAM. So this is interesting here because this is a big increase on what is in the PS5 and the PS5 Pro. They're sitting at 16 gigs of RAM just now. This is the big point of this leak here, talking about the amount of RAM which is going to be in these devices. And this is important for a number of things. In particular, a lot of newer AAA games can be very intensive on video RAM. We saw this when the new Indiana Jones game, launched, and when it launched on PC, like I think graphics card needed like a minimum of 12 gigs of video RAM to just run the thing half decently. So games are getting more intensive in the whole video RAM side of things, and even just system RAM, just for running things smoothly. And we're in this weird timeline right now where AI is hoovering up all the RAM on the planet, quite literally, and causing prices to go through the roof in RAM and in storage. Fingers crossed they don't come for CPUs next, but who knows? I won't hold my breath. That's what makes this slightly concerning. So on one side, it's really good. These systems are going to have a ton of RAM. They're powerhouses. It sounds really, really good. But that makes me worry, is this going to be really, really, really expensive? Now, this thing's aiming round about a 2027 launch. That was the original plan. Hopefully by then things have calmed down. Maybe other foundries have come online and are making, sticks of RAM and stuff like that, and the price stabilizes and comes down a bit. However, I even worry when these things do happen, prices, when they stabilize, usually it just means they stop going up. Companies usually don't bring them back down. Companies are just greedy like that. So the current prices might be the new norm, but hopefully it doesn't go any higher or get any worse. If that happens and the prices do come down, awesome. These are going to be really powerful, awesome machines to have. In particular, this handheld with 24 gigs of GDDR7 RAM. That sounds so freaking good. I cannot wait to see what this device looks like. Is it going to look like the Portal, but a little bit chonkier because it will have, all the hardware inside it. It will have some storage. It will have a fan, no doubt, CPU, GPU, all this kind of stuff. I'm just really, really excited. But I hope that excitement is not ruined by insane pricing. Somebody had asked whether the 24 gigs of RAM would be overkill for a handheld system, and if 20 would be enough. And Kepler L2 noted that it is an unfortunate necessity that 20 gigabytes is not enough. So it looks like Sony, if these leaks are true, are set on these hardware configurations for their devices. I'm really excited. I'm just worried about how much these are going to cost, because think about when we had the PlayStation Vita, it was way ahead of its time. And one of the things which did not help it be a success was it was expensive. Buying the Vita and then, the proprietary memory sticks, it just added up to being a lot of money. If this PlayStation handheld drops and it's $1,000 or £1,000, that's a hard sell, even for me who loves PlayStation. I've had every single PlayStation console. I've grown up with PlayStation. The only ones I didn't have growing up were the handhelds, which I've since acquired more recently. I just think $1,000 is a hard sell. I know there's this Xbox, and PC handhelds with their, that Asus ROG Ally X, for example. It just doesn't appeal to me. That is just way too much money. But what would be a suitable price for a device like this in this day and age, in this climate, and this economy? Because think about it, the economy, people aren't earning a ton more cash, but everything is way more expensive. I don't know what this would need to hit. I mean, if this could come in, I think at PS5 Pro prices or under, I think we've won a watch. I think that would be really good. So that would be around about 700. Would people be willing to pay that for a dedicated PlayStation 6 handheld? I also wonder, is the PlayStation 6 handheld going to be able to interact in any meaningful way with the PlayStation 6 home console? Because it does seem the home console will be a bit more powerful. I don't know how much, but you see here it's got, was it 6 gigs more RAM than the handheld does? So it makes you wonder, would there be an option or a bundle of buying both of them together? And is there any benefit to doing that? Or are we all just going to pick one or the other? So some people will pick the handheld. If the handheld has a docking ability like the Switch 2 does, then I think the value proposition for that goes way up. So you can just play it on the go in handheld mode, not worrying about internet connection like you need to do with the Portal. And then when you're at home, you can dock it and play on the big screen, and happy days, it looks great. There's so many unknowns there. How are they going to price that versus the dedicated home console? And I know it's different, but it's still kind of similar to what's happened with Xbox this generation. They had two different SKUs. So they had the Series X and the Series S. One way more powerful than the other. One has a disk drive, one doesn't. I don't think that worked out the best for them. Having the one device seems to work better. It has worked well for Sony here. I know people say, oh, there's a digital version and the one with the drive, but it's still the same internals pretty much. It's the same power output. So this has me wondering what is going to happen here. There's so many unknowns, and it's quite exciting for a change. I just hope it's not too expensive, and I would love to know your views. How much would you be willing to pay for a dedicated PlayStation 6? Or I even speculated last week on the podcast, I think it was, that this handheld might not even be the PlayStation 6. Could it be like an interim gap between? So we've got the PlayStation 5s out now. The PlayStation 5 Pro has been out for a little while. Then we have the PlayStation, whatever this thing's called, the handheld. And then we get the PlayStation 6 in a couple more years, like maybe 2029, 2030. Because there has been a lot of rumours, and even in Sony's own financial report, saying that the PlayStation 6 has been delayed. So I think this handheld could come out before that. What is it going to be called? The PlayStation 5.5? Or are they going to give it a unique name? I don't know. So we've got the PlayStation, we've got the PlayStation Portal, we've got the PlayStation 5 Pro. Could this be the PlayStation 5 Go? I don't know, because you can take it anywhere. That name sucks. I hope they don't call it that. But you know what I mean? It's very interesting. I just hope it doesn't cost too much. And I want to know, how much would you be willing to pay for a dedicated PlayStation 6 handheld? And does the amount you'd be willing to pay change if you can dock it and play it on the big screen? Because if it's just like, a Vita or a PSP, I know you could play the PSP on the big screen via, PlayStation TV and stuff like that. But would that change how much you'd be willing to pay? Because if it was like handheld only, really, not really, it didn't have a dock or a first party dock with PlayStation for playing it on the TV, the value proposition goes down, I think. Then I would not be willing to pay as much. How much would I be willing to pay for that? 550? 600? Oh, it's a lot of money, people. Sound off in the comments. This is an interesting one, but it's good. Kepler L2 is usually on the ball with all of these hardware leaks with, PlayStation hardware, AMD hardware. And I guess this is both here. It's AMD hardware that's going into these devices. So this carries a fair bit of weight. And it's very interesting to see how this is going to pan out. And speaking about the PlayStation Vita, there is a new Vita on the way. Yes, this is not a joke, not a troll. The RG Vita. Yes, this is from Anbernic, and it is their new handheld, which takes a ton of inspiration from the PlayStation Vita. And it does look, I guess, like a bit of a modern version. It's a very clean aesthetic. It would be cool if they sold replacement buttons for this, so you could put the PlayStation buttons on this device. But you've got the RG Vita and the RG Vita Pro coming along. It's kind of bold that they've actually went for the Vita branding, the Vita name, Vita, which means life in Spanish. These are emulation devices, so you'll be playing a whole bunch of your older games, your older ROMs on this. And we don't really know anything about it. This is like a teaser trailer which has been announced and it came out of nowhere. And it says the debut preview offers a first look at the exterior of these two upcoming models. As shown in the video, the RG Vita series maintains Anbernic's signature craftsmanship. It does look really nice, to be fair. It is a nice looking device. When I see these things, I do just long for a PlayStation handheld that's like this. I said this last week. I would love if Sony released like a PlayStation portable, so a PSP or a PS Vita Classic Mini. Just keep the same form factor. They don't need to go mini with it, but just have it loaded up with some games. I would just love that for true handheld gaming, which you could literally, have in your pocket. You don't need like, a big carry case or a rucksack, for example, like you need with like most handhelds, like Switch 2 or, the Portal, for example. But that's all they tell us. They don't actually give us any specs. I'm thinking surely it's going to have an OLED screen here. And who knows about the actual, chips that are inside it, what kind of power this thing's going to have. But I think it's pretty cool. Picking up one of these, loading this up with a whole bunch of ROMs from the PSP and the Vita, and even just, older PlayStation consoles like PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, could be good fun. Do any of you have any interest in any of these kind of emulation type consoles, which are kind of cloning, I guess, our beloved older consoles? Like, this is kind of a clone of the PlayStation Vita. Or do you just stick with like the official hardware and stuff like this doesn't bother you? Because I guess one thing that is annoying, I've said this before, it's the buttons. Surely someone will make like aftermarket buttons so we can get actual PlayStation logo ones on there. You've got just the A, B, and XY on this, which is a little bit annoying, but it does look cool. I think the white model looks really, really clean. The black model, just with the black front screen like that, I think will probably be a bit of a fingerprint magnet, but that white one is looking really sick. Let me know if you would pick one of these up. If you would, which color would you go for? And I'm interested to see the difference between the Vita and the Vita Pro. I wonder if there's a big power jump between them. Anyways, I want to know, are you interested in these things or not? Just stick with the original hardware, because I know a lot of you watching and listening still have and play with the Vita and the PSP, for example. And I don't blame you in particular with the Vita. The Vita is still a top-notch piece of hardware. Even right now in 2026, if you can get your hands on a really good deal on a Vita, which is in good condition, absolutely grab it, people. They just seem to be going up in price as they are getting more scarce. Which leads us on nicely to the Gaming Coffee Club question of the week. Who is the face of PlayStation in your opinion? This just popped into my head, and I kind of thought it was because I was watching something on YouTube the other day. It was like a documentary about the evolution of like Mario and how he has Mario is Mr. Nintendo. He is the mascot. If you ask someone which, character is just known with Nintendo, everyone goes Mario. Kind of followed by like maybe Zelda, but it's Mario all day, every day. And that got me thinking, who is the face or the mascot for PlayStation? Because I think it's evolved and changed over the years. And that's, I guess, a bit unfortunate. There's not been one, I would say, which has been constant the whole way through. So I put this question to you all and I said, who's the face of PlayStation in your opinion? And a whole bunch of you answered. Thank you very much. And we put up a little picture here, montage, which I just found online, which had a whole bunch of characters. And a lot of you called out there was one of them missing. Who you think it is? A lot of you think it is our little buddy Astrobot, but he's not there. However, that doesn't matter. Let's see what y'all said. So we had Greg Wilson, channel member, absolute legend. Look at this. He has got the bronze trophy. If you want to get a trophy next to your name, check out the join button down below this video. Help support the channel directly. Thank you very much, Greg. For sure, Crash Bandicoot in the beginning, but Kratos has become an icon. Can't deny that. I think the PlayStation 1 had a couple of really strong mascots, and if I had to pick two for the original PlayStation, I think I would pick Crash Bandicoot and also Lara Croft. Probably would be my two picks. And I know, like, so Tomb Raider, Lara Croft, that was not an exclusive to PlayStation. I mean, it was on the Sega Saturn as well, and it was on PC. But I just feel like Lara Croft and Tomb Raider are kind of intertwined and attached to PlayStation. I don't know why that is. I feel like PlayStation must have used Lara in a lot of their marketing back then, because it's just kind of ingrained into my mind. And Crash Bandicoot as well. He was everywhere. He was on the adverts. That advert where they go to Nintendo's office and he's shouting at the megaphone, asking for the plumber boy to come out. Just awesome, fantastic. But bizarrely enough, now Microsoft owns Crash Bandicoot, so Xbox, like, what world are we living in? Then we've got Gila here saying Crash Bandicoot, then Sackboy, and now Astrobot. So there you go. That's a pretty good point there, what I was saying about things evolving and changing over time. So Crash, yep. Then Sackboy, I would say Sackboy was pretty big for PlayStation as a mascot, kind of during the PS3 and PS Vita kind of era, I would say. I feel like Sackboy's been forgotten about recently. I know there was that game around about the start of the PlayStation 5 generation, but I feel like he has been sacked, no pun intended, for Astrobot. Definitely Astrobot's up there now. A lot of people are saying Kratos. It's funny, I don't think that. I don't know. Weird. We've got Ronido saying Ronaldo. Yeah, sure. Whatever floats your boat. Ronaldo, which one? Cristiano Ronaldo or the real Ronaldo? If you know, you know, people. Sound off in the comments if you know who I'm talking about. Anyways, all of the above. For a long time, I saw Spyro and Crash as the faces of PlayStation, but now Microsoft owns them. Yes, what the fuck? Exactly. So maybe Kratos. See, a lot of people are saying that. I think that's because I never played the original God of War trilogy, which was that on PS3 or PSP or PS2? Can't remember. I never played them. I've only played like the newer ones. So I in my mind, Kratos is more new school for me, even though he's not, so it's totally valid. And everyone will have a different opinion and a different face of PlayStation and mascot depending on what games you play as well, because the thing that has also changed now in the world we live in, the internet is so prominent and everyone kind of lives in their own bubble and their own echo chamber. Whereas when I was growing up in like the 90s, like kind of pop culture and, I would say everyone in your kind of community seeing and watching the same things had a big impact. So everyone kind of thought the same way or thought the same things, like, oh, Crash Bandicoot's like the face of PlayStation because we see him on all the TV adverts and everyone watches TV because that's all there kind of was to do that. And like video games, there wasn't internet. Whereas now people watch and play different stuff and they're in different fandoms, and then that's the stuff that the algorithms serve up to them. So they think, oh, that guy's the face of PlayStation, or they think, oh, is that girl's the face of PlayStation? So it's different how it has changed over the years just due to how society has been impacted by the internet. But that's a good point. He also said, I really don't know. I think it should be something from the PS1 era. A car from Gran Turismo. What about a car from Ridge Racer? That red car that had Namco along the rear bumper. I always think of PlayStation when I think of Ridge Racer, even though it was obviously an arcade game first. Crash. There we go. Lots of people are saying Crash Bandicoot, which doesn't surprise me. Nathan Drake. Interesting. That again, I think round about that PS3 era, it was like Sackboy and Nathan Drake. I think that's a good shout. Astrobot. I think since the PS5 era, I feel like Astrobot is taking that mantle now. Cloud. You go, Cloud Strife. Yep. I mean, a Cloud as well. You do think about Cloud when you think of PS1 with, Final Fantasy VII. So that could be a good shout as well. Want to say Kratos or Aloy. Aloy probably as well. More modern kind of face of PlayStation. I get that. But Astrobot should be the face. He brings everyone together. I think Astrobot, I think I've said this before on, I think it was another video. I don't think it was a podcast episode. But Astrobot, to me, is perfectly placed to be PlayStation's Mario. Even by the game types being kind of similar, and I love how when you play like any of like the Astrobot games, they just pay such homage to the lineage of PlayStation. All the older characters that have been in big PlayStation games throughout the years, making cameos, all the hardware as well, making cameos and stuff like that. It is just primed to be PlayStation's Mario. Will they keep doing that though? I think they're realizing the importance of that, because think about it, like Nintendo could basically release the same game every generation, and they do it quite often, just with newer graphics or whatever. But it's just so iconic, and it's Mario. People just flock to it, and Nintendo have done that better than PlayStation over the years. Like they have conditioned their audience and their fans that these people are like these are like tentpole franchises, and they will always be about. So you've always got like Zelda's always about, that franchise of games will always be there. You've always got Mario games. You've got what was the other one I was playing recently? You've got like your Metroid games. There's just a whole bunch, a kind of core of games that are always going to be there. And I think that is also why that nostalgic pull, why the PlayStation Classic Mini, there was a whole bunch of other reasons, obviously, didn't sell as well, but the Nintendo Classic consoles did, because people are just so conditioned about that nostalgia and those old games, those old franchises, those characters, because they're still like relevant today, because they still make modern games about these characters, which they were making games for in the late 80s, early 90s on the NES. They're still doing it on the Switch 2 or the Switch 1 at the time it was. Whereas PlayStation has a whole bunch of them they've seemed to have used, and then, like we were saying about like Sackboy and Nathan Drake, they kind of use them for a section and then forget about them, go into something else. At the start, we've said like Crash Bandicoot, Spyro, Lara Croft. Interestingly though, none of them are actually owned by Sony. They're not first party like franchises, which is interesting. If you think about the PlayStation 1, was there any first party franchises or games that you would, or characters more importantly? Also as well, think about like Solid Snake, Metal Gear Solid. I mean, Metal Gear Solid 1, playing that on the PS1 just blew my mind. That was just like one of the best gaming experiences ever. But that was obviously Konami. That's not PlayStation either. It's a good question, this. I love all your answers. We've got Astrobot or Sackboy here from Mark David. We've got Sonny Slasher coming in saying Astrobot. There's a lot of votes for Astrobot, people. I'm not sure it has one. Oh, interesting here. So this is from Terrible Something. They have characters in games that are recognizable but never really achieve platform mascot status. That's a fair point. I do think you can only be the face of something if you continue to use that face. Right. Okay. Terrible has actually hit the nail on the head with what I was trying to say a minute ago, and I was probably explaining it really badly. But Nintendo have used these same characters throughout their whole video game history. Sony has not done that, and that is why when Nintendo releases something new for Mario or Zelda or something old, like, them being in the retro consoles or, remakes of the old games, the fan base flocks to it because they are like, yes, I love this stuff. It's not been kind of forgotten about. Sony definitely needs to get better at that. However, I feel they have learned that lesson and they're going to try and do this with Astrobot, which is also why they bring a lot of their older franchises into Astrobot, because it gives, maybe something like Sly Cooper or something, a bit of awareness. There might be newer audiences that are just have no clue what that is. And then that allows maybe Sony to go back and, revisit these franchises, not just with, the old retro ports on PSN, but by maybe making a new game in the franchise, because I do think we need to revisit a whole bunch of those franchises going forward, because the AAA gaming space is getting way too expensive and taking way too long. It takes like a full console generation or more sometimes for them to make the one game. They can condense that down and make some smaller, really special experiences with some of these games which had been out years ago, like giving us a new entry in the franchises. I think that would be a really smart move. And Sony, there's so many games they could do that with. I know it's not like really people or characters, but think about like Twisted Metal and stuff like that. Like, give us a new one of them. All the games for the PS1 used to love, like Wipeout, Destruction Derby. I mean, come on, Sony. They could definitely do that. But that's a good point. Terrible. I agree. They all built the brand we love. The hands down Crash Bandicoot. So someday again, Crash Bandicoot. I would say the most commented ones here so far have been Astro and Crash. We've got here Dirty Deeds, done dirt cheap, saying Kratos, Jin Sakai. Oh, interesting. Or Ellie and Joe. That's the first people saying Ellie and Joe. It's funny. I wouldn't think of them being like PlayStation, the face of PlayStation or PlayStation mascots, but I get how it could be. Um, because it was interesting. I went to that, it was last year, the PlayStation, I can't remember what it's called, but it was like the PlayStation concert where they had the live orchestra doing like the music from the games. And there was like The Last of Us, there was God of War, there was Ghost of Tsushima, there was Astrobot, there was Horizon. And I think that was kind of it, wasn't it? I think so. Um, but it was weird. I don't know. It just felt a bit flat. Like the Astrobot bit was really good and exciting, and I think that caught most people's attention the most. Like the music was fantastic. The actual live orchestra were really, really good, but the actual stage setup and like effects and stuff, it wasn't that good. I actually didn't rate it that much. I think I've got some footage from it. I need to do a YouTube short so I can show you what it was like, but it was a bit wasn't the best. Let me know if any of you went to see that live. We've got all of them collage of All Stars. Remember the PlayStation All Stars? It's a throwback. They should bring that back. For me, it has to be Nathan Drake. There we go. See, because someone here has probably played these Uncharted games on PS3 or whatever, and it is like been such a big moment. Wow, and they're huge, and then that becomes that person's, you know, base of PlayStation. Totally get that. Where's Astro? Astro is having a nap. He's not in that photo. Sackboy, quite a few for Sackboy. Must be Astro now, surely. Yep. Mark, I agree. It would have to be Joel and Ellie for me. There we go. Another Joel and Ellie. Little buddy Astro. But getting no love in the picture. And no Deacon St. John. Whoa. We're going to pretend he doesn't exist. So there we go. Astro, I agree. Crash in the early PlayStation days. Yep. Next face was Sackboy. Yep. Now it's Astrobot. There we go. A few people said that. I do agree. I feel Kratos is a fan favourite, but not the face. I can't see him as a mascot. That's probably a good way to explain it. Yeah, Tony, I agree with that. It might be Astrobot. Astro, but he isn't in the picture. Yep. You're right, Ballistic. We've got Alima here. Astrobot again. Classic PlayStation, Crash. Modern PlayStation has to be Nathan Drake. Wow, I thought Bite Size here was going to say classic is Crash and modern has got to be Astro. Very interesting. Oh, We've got here Meet Shame saying they wrecked every brand by porting it to PC. The merch store closed after like 12 years. It's a problem. Did they really? Did every game really get ported to PC? I don't know about that. I know the merch store like closed, yeah. But I think that ties back to what I'm saying about not having these characters consistently showing up on every generation from the PS1 right through to PS5 and on to PS6. They kind of appear in blocks and then disappear, from the public eye. So I know what they mean. I agree with that kind of bit. It is a bit of a problem, which I think they're working on with the Astro, hopefully. Because Astro has been about for a lot longer than people expect, but the Astro game, which first really blew my mind, was see when the PSVR came out and it had that Astro bot. What was it? Was it Astro's Playroom? It was called. That was unbelievable. A 3D platformer where you're actually like getting vertigo. Like, oh my god, look how high up we are. It was fantastic. I spend enough money on it. Laura Croft. Like Lara Croft. Yes, Herb. I agree. That's a good one. She was one of the first games on PS1. Good pick. I think Lara's a good one. I'm surprised more people didn't say that, actually. In my opinion, PS1, PS2 would be tied with Crash and Spyro. That's a good point. I think, again, it depends what you played. So for me, I played Crash. I never really played Spyro. I love Crash. As frustrating and as difficult as it was back then. Crash. PS3 was Sackboy. Yep, there we go. PS4 and 5 is Kratos. See, I thought they were going to say Astro. Right, Beardacon. Good list there. I like it, buddy. Crash back then, but God of War, of course. Look how long of a run Kratos had from PS2, 3, 4, 5. Come on, nah, respectfully. Well, that is a good point. So yeah, that is what I was saying, that I didn't pick him because I never played the earlier games. So yeah, that's why I didn't suggest that when I was talking about it. But a lot of you have said Kratos, so yeah, it would always be Crash. I know. I just would. I just wish that Sony owned Crash Bandicoot. I wish they could have somehow bought. Was it Toys for Bob that were making it, developing it recently? When Activision were it's getting purchased by Microsoft. I just wish somehow they got that IP because yeah, Crash is so freaking good. And the new ones, if you've not played the new Crash Bandicoot games, they're absolutely solid. Check them out. Really good games. It's kind of shifted to Astrobot now, but the first one I think of will always be Ratchet and Clank. By the way, Strixus, I think you're the first person to mention Ratchet and Clank. That's another really good shout. Jeez. Yeah, Ratchet and Clank, the last Ratchet and Clank game, Rift Apart. What a game. Unbelievable game. One of the first games on PS5 and probably still one of the best. Top tier. Another one for Crash and Astrobot. People, I've not counted all these, but that's been a ton of comments. Thank you all for commenting. I think we need to say it's probably Astrobot and Crash are maybe the favourites, followed closely by this man right here. What do we think? If you didn't answer in the post here, let me know in the comments under this episode. Who do you think is the face of PlayStation? And keep your eyes peeled for next week's Gaming Coffee Club question of the week. I will be posting it in the next day or two, and it's your chance, to comment and get featured in the podcast. On to some good GTA news, some good gaming news for a change. There was a lot of worries that GTA 6 was going to launch on its normal launch day, but digital only, and they were not going to release a physical version of the game to avoid leaks and spoilers getting out before the game's street date. And thank goodness this is not happening. The physical game will also be launching at the same time as the digital one, and all the marketing is going to start happening this summer. I think they said May time. But this is really good. So this was the CEO of Take-Two, who is publishing GTA 6. And he basically poured cold water on this rumor that it's going to be digital only release at launch. And basically, he said, speaking to Variety, Zelnick has now denied that this is the case. Asked if Take-Two planned to delay the release of the physical version until after the initial launch date, the CEO replied, that's not the plan. Thank God for that. In its latest earning results, published on Tuesday, Take-Two announced that GTA 6, near 13-year-old predecessor GTA 5, has now surpassed 225 million copies sold. What? That is wild. It's bizarre. Like literally every year when you look at the top sellers list though, GTA 5 is somehow still there. Like I don't know if it's just like kids reaching a certain age and then they're buying GTA 5 obviously because it has been out for 13 years. So that's 13 generations possibly popping into that age bracket. But everyone must own about 3 or 4 copies of GTA 5 by now. No joke. I think I do. I've got GTA 5 on. I've got an Xbox. I've got it on PlayStation. Then I bought the PS5 version, and I've got it on PC. So I've got 3 copies of GTA 5. Oh, jeez. What is life? Oh, man. It's also stated that marketing for GTA 6 will begin this summer. That is a good sign because if the marketing kicks off for this, we have high hopes and high confidence that the launch date of November the 19th, 2026 is locked in and we're not going to get another delay because there was a whole bunch of rumors as well saying that this game's going to get pushed back to 2027. Fingers crossed that does not happen. It was originally meant to come out in May 26th, 2026, but it has been moved to November. And that raises the big question. Will you be buying GTA 6 on its launch physically, or will you be getting a digital copy? And the other big thing I want to know, because this keeps coming up in discourse around this game, and I think it is going to happen. Do we think GTA 6 will launch at a higher price than the kind of standard £70, $70 mark? I think it wouldn't surprise me if they push this up to 80, 90, 100 for just the base version of this game. I mean, it's just going to be huge no matter what, really, isn't it? I mean, I think people are just going to buy this no matter what it costs. I hope they don't. So I'm going to say no. I will only be buying it if it's 70 or less. It's just going to break the internet anyway. How much do you think GTA is going to cost? And, I just hit the microphone there. And will you be buying it physically or digitally? Sound off in the comments, peeps. Exciting news, people. State of Play returns this Thursday, February the 12th. I am hyped for this. So, this sounds like it might be a big deal. State of Plays, though, word of warning, the quality of these can vary massively. They can be amazing or they can be a bit meh, depending on what you're looking for. In particular, some of them, I think most of them on the whole are generally pretty good and I enjoy them because I do enjoy seeing like indie games and what those developers are up to, because I do think that indie game developers now are the ones that are really pushing innovation in gaming and doing stuff really exciting, whereas AAA games usually are playing it safe because they have such a massive budget, so it needs to be like a sequel or a remake or just more of the same kind of thing, whereas indie games can push the boat out and try something new and exciting. But a lot of people obviously tune into these and want to see the big, AAA PlayStation games, and sometimes they don't show up and then people go, that sucked. So just keep that in mind, people. I think the best thing with these events is to go in with no expectations and then you will probably, hopefully, be pleasantly surprised. But either way, we live stream them here on the channel and we have a watch party where we all chat and react in real time to everything going on. So make sure if you've not subscribed and rung that notification bell on YouTube yet, do it right now and come and hang out on Thursday with us when we watch this event together. Because I was about to say, I think it could be an exciting one because it is 1 hour long. I can't wait. And the time for this will be 2 p.m. Pacific time, 5 p.m. Eastern time, 10 p.m. GMT here in the UK, and 11 p.m. Central time. I am very excited. Over an hour, and it will feature news and updates from developers across the globe. This includes announcements from third parties, indies, and PlayStation studios. So that does make me think this could be a good event. But what kind of things are we expecting or hoping to see? So I made a little list here what I think could show up. So let's make some guesses here. Saros, sci-fi shooter from Returnal developer Housemarque. That's due out in April this year. I think we'll see some more of that. Then what about maybe we've got some Marvel games that are on the way. Wolverine from Insomniac Games, which we'll talk about later on in this episode, as it looks like its release date or release window has been narrowed right down. We'll talk about that later. And also Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls from Arc Systems Works are both expected in 2026. So I think we'll definitely see more of both of them, which I'm really excited to see more Wolverine, because that appeared at one of the state of plays right at the end and genuinely just blew my socks off. It looked so good. I'm really excited about that. I did not expect them to go for the hard, like, R approach with all the blood and gore and guts and stuff, because we're used to seeing Spider-Man where it's very PG, you know? So that was really cool. That was a nice surprise there. And the Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls, it just looks like an awesome fighting game, so I want to see more of that. And we've also got, well, the new Horizon game, which was just announced. We might see more of that. We'll talk about that later on in this episode. It's a very interesting one, shall we say. And what else could there be? I think maybe Marathon from Bungie. You know, that's out in, I think it's just about a month's time. I don't have high hopes for that. I feel like it may be another bit of a flop from Sony. It may be dead on arrival, a la Concord. And then the other one, which we've not heard about for a while, which could appear, would be Naughty Dog's Intergalactic The Heretic Prophet. That's my shouts. And obviously, you know, there'll be a whole bunch of indies and stuff like that. But who knows? You can dream. Could there be any surprises? Like, you know, I don't know, a Bloodborne remake? I don't know, people. I don't know. But 60 plus minutes, that is going to be a lot of content for us to watch together and react to here on the channel. So sound off what you're hoping to see, and let me know if you'll be hanging out on Thursday with us live here on stream. I can't wait. The live streams have been so good recently on the channel. We always stream the PlayStation events, and it's just such good vibes and just a good laugh, good banter, and reacting to everything on screen. So I really hope to see you all there. I can't wait. Roll on Thursday. I'll be there with my gaming coffee club mug, and I hope to see you there too. PlayStation has revealed the new Horizon co-op game, which is coming to PlayStation 5 and PC, Horizon Hunters. And if you're watching this on YouTube or on Spotify, you can see we've got the footage in the background. Oh my goodness, this was not what I expected. This looks so bad. Oh, it has got that Fortnite aesthetic, which has just been done to death now because Fortnite was so popular. There's been so many games which have tried to clone that aesthetic, that look, that style. This looks exactly like that. And the gameplay mechanics looks kind of Monster Hunter-esque. But geez, the thing which just shocked me about this is that this is the PlayStation 5 game we are getting. And they also mentioned that they're basically not, you know, Horizon 3, whatever that will be, is way off because all of Guerrilla Games is working on this game. How did we go from Killzone to Horizon, like Forbidden West, to this? Right, I just don't know. Am I being too critical? Does anyone else feel the way I do? I just don't, I'm not really feeling this at all. Now, what really confused me about this, and I mean, see, when you watch this, this looks like Fortnite Mayor's gameplay, doesn't it? It's bizarre. Even more importantly, though, what really confuses me about this is we've had 2 Horizon multiplayer games revealed, and Horizon Hunters Gathering is the one which is going to PlayStation 5 and PC. So this is the PlayStation 5 game. This one you're seeing on screen right now, which looks like Fortnite, right? And then we had the other one, and this to prove my point, I'm going to put it on screen because this will make it even clearer. So remember exactly what this looks like. This is Horizon Hunters Gathering. This is the PlayStation 5 multiplayer Horizon game. Now, let's look at the mobile game. Now, this is the mobile game we're looking at. This is Horizon Steel Frontiers. I feel like they've somewhere in this universe, this has got mixed up. This to me looks like it should be the PlayStation 5 game, and Horizon Hunters Gathering looks like it should be the mobile game. Does anyone else think that? Like, I think this looks cool. This looks fun. This looks awesome. This looks like a PlayStation 5 game. This is the mobile game. What is going on? I really do not understand this. I mean, the Horizon series has sold over 40 million copies and counting now, so it's a really, really big franchise for Sony. And if any of you have played it, I'm sure you'll love it. They're great games. But, Horizon Steel Frontiers looks, it looks really like a kind of intense game. It looks graphically intense as well. It looks like a PlayStation 5 game. It looks like a home console game. And this is exclusive to mobile and PC, not PlayStation 5. Yeah, you heard that right. We spoke about this before. This has not been announced for PlayStation 5, but the game which did get announced for PlayStation 5, we'll flick back to that now, Horizon Hunters Gathering, looks like it's a mobile game. Are you kidding me? This legit looks like it could be running on a mobile phone. Yet this game, bizarrely enough, is not releasing on mobile. And then you can just add even more into the mix, which makes Sony's strategy with this really confusing. Remember Lego Horizon Adventures? The little kind of cute Lego game where you played as Aloy? That went to Nintendo Switch as well. So it's just like, what's going on with this? It's really weird. So, I mean, these are official games. Sony is involved with these games. They know they're happening. Why does the one that looks really good going to mobile and PC, the one that looks like a mobile game is coming to PlayStation 5 and PC? I just don't get it. Like, maybe I'm just being really critical and just being an absolute downer about this. I don't know. But I saw this and I was like, oh, no. We don't need more games that are like Fortnite. We need less games like that. I feel like companies are just constantly chasing the success Fortnite had, even though it's probably never going to happen again. I think, that was like a once in a lifetime type moment there with Fortnite, striking gold, and it's just kept going. I don't know. Live service, I get why they want to approach that because they want just the steady stream of income these games can bring. But I'm not so sure that's what the PlayStation audience who plays Horizon Forbidden West and Horizon Zero Dawn wants. Do they want to play this? I don't. Is this going to be another Concord? Sound off, people. Will you be playing Horizon Hunters Gathering, or am I just being too critical? You might think it looks amazing, and that's totally valid. But yeah, I mean, if this is free to play, I don't even know if it's free to play. I think it is. I hope it's free to play. If it's free to play, I will try it, and then I will pass judgment to be accurate. But right now, I see this and I go, I would rather Guerrilla Games were working on a new Killzone or a new legit Horizon mainline game. What do you think, people? Let's chat about Wolverine now, as it's looking like we are narrowing down its release date. So, upcoming PlayStation exclusive Marvel's Wolverine seems to have narrowed down a potential release date thanks to information found on the Latin American PlayStation Store. So, it's already been confirmed for fall 2026 release, with Sony sharing this launch window back during September 2025 State of Play. However, that window may have been narrowed down further based on this new evidence. So Marvel's Wolverine is positioned to be one of PlayStation's biggest releases of the year after Insomniac found success with the Spider-Man games. Now we've got the iconic X-Men mutant Logan set to absolutely obliterate everyone in his path, as you can see on screen if you're watching this. Very, very gruesome and gory. And he's set to battle foes like Omega Red and Mystique, and locations like the Canadian Wilderness and Madripoor. Recent teasers also suggest Marvel's Wolverine may even include appearances from other Marvel heroes like Daredevil, She-Hulk, and Jean Grey. I'm so excited for this game. See GTA 6 and this, just give me these two games. I will be so hyped. However, release date, that's what you care about, Murray. Stop rattling on. According to the listing for Marvel's Wolverine found on the Latin American PlayStation Store, the game is planned for Q3 2026 release. So this is different from the North American PlayStation Store, which still has Marvel's Wolverine listed as fall 2026. So that might seem like it's the same kind of time, but if you overlap those two time periods, it narrows down the launch date for us. So Q3 includes the months of July through to September, meaning that Marvel's Wolverine would be released in one of those months if this information on the Latin American PlayStation Store is accurate. So, considering all the kind of launch windows we've had previously, and based on those Insomniac release dates of their previous Marvel games, like Marvel Spider-Man was September 2018, Miles Morales was November 2020, and Spider-Man 2 was October 2023, it looks like it might be a good bet to assume that Marvel's Wolverine could release in September 2026. And the big major elephant in the room to consider here is how close that is getting to GTA 6, which is currently planned to launch in November the 19th. And just how GTA is just a juggernaut. Every publisher on the planet is going to want to avoid that kind of release window. So distancing themselves from that by going first, it would make sense for Marvel's Wolverine to release as early as it could in this fall 2026 window, rather than later and getting closer to GTA 6. So this new information, I think, makes sense. So if it was early September, you've got September, October, and then mid-November GTA 6 arrives, 2 and a bit months. I think that is a pretty safe window, and I could see that happening. The other two major games which are due to release in September 2026 are Halloween the Game and Phantom Blade Zero. Phantom Blade Zero looks like it'll be pretty big. However, there's not a lot of, I would say, crossover and like overlap between those games and those genres. So I think Wolverine would be safe to go in September 2026. And would you be picking this up in September 2026? Even though GTA 6 would be, 2 and a bit months down the line, I would. I mean, look at this. This looks incredible. Play through the single player campaign for this before GTA 6 comes out. And then it's on to GTA 6, people. Life is good. Let me know if you're hyped for Wolverine. Will you be picking it up on PlayStation 5? Or are you giving it a miss? This might not be your bag. You might not be interested in this. But I think this looks freaking awesome. Now, just a little public service announcement for two pretty fun games which are getting delisted. One in particular I recommend you pick up. But this is just annoying with this digital gaming world. These games will be getting delisted. Servers will be going offline. You can still play single player. But the two games are NBA 2K Playgrounds 2. I have a physical copy of this on Xbox. This is a great game. I may actually pick this up again on my PlayStation, so I have it on PS5. It is a PS4 game, but it is really good. It reminds me of it's like a modern version of NBA Jam. Really, really good fun game. If you love NBA, you've probably already got this, but well worth checking out. And then the other one is WWE 2K Battlegrounds. Now, this is the one I wouldn't recommend. I played this and it's just really bad. I didn't enjoy it at all. You might like it. I'm down with a bit of pro wrestling. I'm up for that. I mean, Stone Cold Steve Austin there getting beat by Roman Reigns. What is that all about? The rattlesnake would kick his ass. Anyways, these are both getting delisted on the 20th of February 2026. So not long to get these in your basket and buy them. They'll be removed from online stores after that point. I may even just pick this one up as well, so I've got it. Maybe it's not as bad as I remember. The trailer does look quite fun. And then the servers will be shut down on July 9th. So if you're wanting to get these and there's maybe some trophies you want to get that rely on playing games online, you need to get them done before July 9th. After that, they will shut down. the online services, and it will just be single player modes which will remain playable. Currently, they're both on sale right now on the PlayStation Store, which is also good. So it's 75% off NBA 2K Playgrounds 2, and WWE 2K Battlegrounds has 80% off. So you can get both of them for under $10 each. So well worth checking out if you like the look of these before they disappear forever. Let me know if you'll be checking any of these out down below and picking these up for your PlayStation. So this news actually comes from the Nintendo Direct, which happened the other day, but Arcade Archives 2 is adding new titles to the lineup, and one in particular, which is getting its first ever home console release, and that is Rave Racer, which I think this was actually like the arcade sequel to Ridge Racer. And the gameplay footage of it, it looks class. I love these old school arcade racing games. They are basically like relics of a bygone era where you could finish your work and pick up a game and just have a blast for 15, 20, 30 minutes. And it's really simple to play, not dead complicated, easy just to let your mind chill out. That was the one which really caught my eye, and I can't wait to play that one. Sonic Wings Special does look good as well. I love a good shmup. In particular, these games are great fun on the Portal. But the other game which I was surprised at, because I always thought it was a PlayStation game, but Cool Borders is coming to Arcade Archives 2. So that means Cool Borders will be on Switch 2 and Xbox as well. This update, the first two games will launch on PS5 on the 14th of February. So that's going to be Cool Borders and Ninja Gaiden 2, The Dark Sword of Chaos. But for me, it's all about Rave Racer. I think this looks really, really good. I cannot wait to check this out. There's that Namco car I was talking about earlier, the red one, which in my mind could be a PlayStation mascot. But yeah, are you interested in these OG arcade games? It was really bizarre what happened with Ridge Racer. So we got the Arcade Archives version of that, which is the Arcade Perfect version. So it's the version from the arcade machine. And then literally like a month or two later, we got the PS1 version, which dropped into PS Plus. That's the one we can play on PS Plus right now. So it's kind of weird. There's two versions of Ridge Racer to play right now on PS5. However, there should only be one version of Rave Racer, and that's this one right here. And I'm excited to check it out. These are the sort of games where I would rather pick up on sale because they're usually quite expensive. It's like £15 for the games usually, which I think is quite a lot because there's not a lot in some of these games, you know. So if it was maybe half that price or a tenner, count me in. Let me know if I will be seeing you on the starting line in Rave Racer. Some exciting news if you're hyped for Halo Campaign Evolved, heading over to PlayStation 5 and on to Xbox. And we have got this report from The Verge, which is talking about Xbox's plans in 2026. And sources speaking to the outlet claim Microsoft is tentatively targeting a release over the summer. So that's Halo Campaign Evolved this summer. That'll be good fun. I'm up for that. It then has Fable launching in the autumn. Fable, I'm not too sure about. I know a lot of you are hyped about it, but I don't know. I'm not sure. Playground Games, though, who do the Forza Horizon series, are behind that. So fingers crossed they pull it off. And then we've got Gears of War E-Day, which is on course for a release in the second half of 2026, they are claiming. So, Gears of War E-Day, that's an interesting one because surely they want to avoid GTA 6. Everyone does. And then I don't think that's too smart going alongside Wolverine if this is going to launch on PlayStation day and date. But I'm excited about that. I'm a big fan of the Gears of War franchise. I think I've played most of them. I can't remember which ones I've not played. I think it's kind of some of the middle ones I've not played. I can't remember if I've played Gears of War 3. I've played 1, I've played 2, I've played 4, I've played 5. The add-on to 5, I can't even remember what it was called now, but it was fantastic. It was better than the actual game, better than 5. However, we got Gears of War Reloaded, which brought the Gears of War franchise to PlayStation for the first time ever. So hopefully people are excited about Gears of War E-Day. I'm pretty sure it will be awesome. The Gears of War games usually are pretty good. They've kind of fallen away a wee bit. 5 wasn't as good as it could have been, in my opinion. They were trying to pad it out with all that, open world stuff when it was just totally pointless. Like there was this bit, there's so many bits where you're on this like sled being pulled about the place, like a big kite thing, and it was just stupid. It was like, I think they were trying to do a little bit of like, oh, the Forza Horizon games, sorry, the Horizon Forbidden West games or Horizon Zero Dawn, it's open world. So's Gears of War. And it's just like, nah, just stick to what you're good at. Gears of War, when it's funneling you down all these tight alleyways, and you're all the cover shooting, and it's just so much better, much more intense. The only thing that does suck though about Halo Campaign Evolved is it's just the campaign. From the original game remade, there's not going to be any multiplayer, which I can't believe they're actually doing that. There's also rumours about Starfield content coming out soon, alongside a rumoured PS5 version, which is in the works, and a major 2.0 update and second expansion. So, Starfield, if you've never tried it, it could have been great, but my goodness, the loading screens absolutely just obliterated the immersion. Like every time you went into a room or went somewhere, it was like a loading screen. It was like so poor. I just don't know what they were thinking. But maybe if they could fix that in this new update, it'd be a lot better. I do want to revisit that though, that game. Maybe give it more of a try. But I was just like, "Oh, I can't be bothered with this." I was like, I'm out. But it did have some cool stuff, but it wasn't that generational game that, they were hoping it was going to be like a new Skyrim. And I bet if that was an absolute sales success and massive, Xbox, I don't think would be doing what they're doing right now with putting all their games, going third party and putting them all onto PlayStation, for example. If that was a big success, that was the start of them, their new games coming out, new exclusives, trying to get people interested in Xbox. But unfortunately, it didn't. And we are where we are. So, are you hyped about Halo? I am. I always enjoyed Halo. I've played. I think I've played every. I've actually played every Halo. I think. No, I've not played Halo 2. I've not played Halo 2. But the original Halo, amazing. Halo 3 is just peak. The multiplayer on that back in the day on the Xbox 360 was god tier. Just so much fun. Honestly, absolute magical time to be involved in gaming. Um, Halo 4 was okay. Halo 5 was terrible. Such a just grind to play through the game. It was so boring, such a crap story. And then Halo Infinite, I've actually not finished, but I don't mind. It was not the launch game. Well, it wasn't a launch game because it got delayed. They made a complete mess of it for the Series X and S consoles, but I don't mind it. I don't mind it. I think it's quite good fun. Enough about Halo. Let me know if you're excited for it coming to PlayStation 5. Or if you don't care, a lot of you don't care about any of these Xbox games, I get it. But I'm excited about that and Gears of War E-Day for sure. And we've got Forza Horizon 6. That's a must play as well. I'll be playing that on Xbox though, because that drops into Game Pass months before it does on PlayStation. And I'm impatient. I can't wait. We spoke about the new Tomb Raider TV show the other week on the podcast, and now we have the first on-set photos of Sophie Turner as Lara Croft. Tactical outfit for the Tomb Raider live action series. I just don't see this being like Lara Croft at all. Like genuinely, if you showed this to someone in the street and said, which like pop culture icon or video game icon is this person playing? Which character is this? I don't think anyone, and I mean 100% of people, would say Lara Croft. Maybe the only thing is the two guns. Like, I just think this is a bizarre casting. I just don't see it at all, unfortunately. I still hope the show's good. Wish them all the best because I don't want, you know, live adaptations of video games to just absolutely suck. But when I see stuff like this, I'm like, oh man. And that looks a good shot. That looks quite cool, doesn't it? But I don't know. I'm just really puzzled by the casting here. Even like her hair color as well doesn't really. I know in the really early kind of Tomb Raider games, Lara's hair was kind of almost auburny brown. So I don't know. I just think this is a bizarre casting. And when I see even like the outfit and stuff like that, I know there's I can't remember what Tomb Raider game Lara wears something kind of like this. Is it maybe Underworld or something? But I see this and I genuinely think Metal Gear Solid, Solid Snake, like that is the vibes I'm getting. Um, but we might not have too long to wait. Filming has kicked off for this. They're obviously not wasting any time. This will be on Amazon Prime, I'm pretty sure it is coming to. So if you're a Prime subscriber, you'll be able to check this out when it arrives. The thing which does give me hope is how well the adaptation of Fallout has been handled. Like Fallout is, I think, the gold standard for video game franchise making the jump to TV or the big screen. So fingers crossed they can do that with this. But what I've seen so far, I'm just like, I really do think they could have cast someone that maybe just looked a bit more like Lara Croft, you know. I mean, see when I see this, she looks like Joanna Dark. She'd be perfect if they did a Perfect Dark movie. Does no one else get that vibe or see that? You know, I just don't see Lara Croft. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but it'd be cool to know what you all think. I still just hope this is good because if it sucks and it's a flop, the thing that's bad about that is it just means the Tomb Raider franchise will get put on the back burner for like another 10 years or something. I mean, when did the last Tomb Raider game movie come out with Alicia Vikander? 2018. So that was 8 years ago, nearly a decade ago. And what is really weird about this, I actually enjoyed that movie. I thought it was good. I think it's pretty underrated. She was a great Lara Croft. She is a really good actress. Just the movie, like the story wasn't the best, which I felt let her down. And it was a shame the way the movie ended. I'm not going to throw any spoilers, but it did have me quite hyped and excited for a sequel to see, right, where is this going to go? At that time, though, as well, the world was just in like Marvel mania, Marvel fever. There was Marvel movies just dominating the box office every couple of months. So it didn't really have much of a chance. It is a shame because I thought it was good fun. I've got this on Blu-ray, I think, or DVD or something, but I like it. This is based more on the Survivor trilogy, though, whereas the newer TV show looks like it's going back to OG Lara, from the original trilogy. Let's see how this goes. Fingers crossed they pull it out the bag, and I'm completely wrong, and I see it, and it is 10 out of 10. I don't know though. What do you think? Do you know? Is this looking good, or are you not too sure? Sound off in the comments. I'd love to know who would you have cast as Lara Croft because it's a huge role. She needs to have all that ass kicking attitude. So let me know. If I feel like Lara Croft is like the female James Bond in a kind of way. They nailed it with Angelina Jolie. She was fantastic as Lara Croft in the first Tomb Raider, and then Alicia Vikander was pretty good in this Tomb Raider movie. So yeah, let me know what you think about this new Tomb Raider live action series. One thing I also find puzzling about the TV show coming to Amazon is we've got this remake of the original game called Legacy of Atlantis, which was revealed just a month or two ago recently, and it looks fantastic. They've absolutely nailed the whole look, the feel, the vibe, everything in this. I think is really, really spot on. I was genuinely shocked, totally surprised, and like, wow, I'm not as keen on the game, which is coming further down the line. It doesn't look as good, but this to me is Lara Croft Tomb Raider. I don't know why, especially with them all sitting under like Amazon. So Amazon Game Studios are publishing this. It's Amazon Studios that are publishing the TV show. You'd think they would want a bit of continuity and have Lara Croft in the TV show, looking and acting like this, what we're going to get in the game. And I think if they did that, people would be really happy about it. They'd be like, yes, this is legit Lara Croft. I don't think there would be then, people on the fence, half happy, half not happy. I think everyone would really corral around it and go, this is Lara Croft. She looks and acts like Lara Croft. Here we go. Or the flip side, have the Lara Croft in the video game looking like the way Sophie Turner does in the TV show. I don't know. It's just kind of bizarre, don't you think? there definitely seems to be some sort of continuity missing there, or they've just missed the mark on, one side of this. Which side that is, I don't know. Which do you think looks more like Lara Croft, what we've got in Legacy of Atlantis, or what's happening in the live action TV show? People say, oh, it's not all just about looks and stuff like that. It's about acting ability and whatever else and the story and stuff. And it's like, yeah, I get that, but it goes back to like when they hired Tom Holland as Nathan Drake. Like that was terrible. He looks nothing like Nathan Drake. Like you go and see these live action versions of video game characters that you like know and love and care about and have played games with for years because you expect it to be like a live action version of them. It's the same kind of stuff, like even when you think of the stories and stuff, like the Resident Evil movies with Mila Jovovich, they were like the first one was kind of like Resident Evil, but after that they were just action movies with the name. They were not Resident Evil. It's like stick to the source material and then give us that on the big screen or on the TV, and people will be happy. Hollywood seems to have this tendency to go, oh, there's a great video game franchise. Let's take it and make a live action version of it, which looks and story wise and theme is nothing like the actual game. And then they go, and then when it flops, they go, why did nobody like it? You're like, what? The thing that astounds me the most is how many times have we seen like directors or producers of live action adaptations of a video game be interviewed, and the first thing they all say is, oh, I've never played the game. I don't want to play the game. I don't want that to impact my vision for what I'm creating. Buddy, you're creating the game in live action. That's the remit. Keep it simple. Like, what? Oh, I don't know, people. Maybe I'm overthinking this, but I just want all video game franchises to do really well, especially ones that I really like. Tomb Raider, growing up with this, had Tomb Raider 1 and Tomb Raider 2 on the PlayStation 1. Awesome games. A lot of people didn't like the Survivor trilogy, which was kind of PS3 up to, well, PS4. I really enjoyed them as well. Like, I just think we need to get this right so that these franchises can go on and be bigger and stronger and stuff like that. And it's like, I feel like they need to make all of these things for the core audience who enjoy these franchises, where it's like they try and change things so much that it's not, just doesn't even look like what it's meant to be. And then it doesn't appeal to the core audience who play the games. And then they wonder why things are not successful. Oh, make it make sense, people. So there we have it. That is another week of gaming news in the bag. Which news story caught your attention the most just now? Anything that you're excited about, shocked by this week? Sound off in the comments. Make sure you subscribe, like, leave a rating, and hang about, because next week we'll be back again with even more gaming news. And I hope to see you this Thursday for the PlayStation State of Play. We'll be live here at 10 p.m. UK time. Your local times, I mentioned them earlier, and then when I put the live stream up as an event, before it goes live, I'll have all the times on there as well, so make sure you come hang out with us and we can react to everything that PlayStation announce and show off to us in the big event on Thursday night. Get hyped, people!